Hello and welcome to another episode of All Things Real Estate. As always, I am your host, Kyle Seyboth with Century 21 Real Estate. And like every other episode on here, we have a super special guest. Today we have John St. Martin with Century 21 as well. And John has been on the show before, but we want to bring him back because I want to dig into some things a little further. And I think it's important that we bring a seasoned agent that's on the team. We bring him in and we allow him to dig into some stuff that he sees in the market now. And let's just start, John. Thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Awesome. He's happy to be here. We're all happy to be here.
We're all excited.
We're all excited. So, John, you've been in real estate for a while, right? When did you get in?
It's over 10 years ago.
Perfect, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
What did you see? Let's talk about 5 years ago versus today. What's the difference in the market?
It's a totally different market right now. You know, I mean, it's a seller's market. Back 5 years ago, it was a buyer's market. There was plenty of inventory out there, and you know, today it's like just so competitive. I probably get 1 out of every 10 offers that I make accepted. And every offer, I haven't made an offer in the last couple of months less than $10,000 over asking price. And I'm still not getting these houses. Where, 5 years ago, I could bid $10,000 under asking price and have a good shot at it,
Right.
Yeah.
So with that, right, so would you say in the last year, we've got COVID, we had the election, we have a shortness of supply, we got low interest rates. Have you submitted any offers at all in 2020 that have had no other competing offers?
Maybe early in the year, January, February or something, but not, no.
Zero.
There's been zero. And since maybe April, I mean, I had one, I remember they had 30 some offers on the property. I mean, it's ridiculous. To have less than 5 or 6 other offers that I'm competing against is unusual.
So yeah, I mean that's unfortunately the market that we're in.
Yeah.
And I think that market, my thought on that market is that it's not going to change anytime soon. I don't see it changing anytime soon. But at the end of the day, we have to try to navigate with buyers. So if you're a buyer in this market, well, first of all, what do you think next year looks like? Is it similar? Does it change?
Well, I hope it changes, just in the fact that I hope they come out with this vaccine and then the COVID thing settles down. Because I know people aren't putting their house on the market because they don't want people coming through the house.
Right.
I had a couple listings in the spring that the people canceled their listing because all of a sudden they didn't want people coming in the house anymore.
Right.
So there's people that had the house listed that are dropping out of the market.
Right.
And then, usually you see a big influx of listings in the spring, and that didn't happen this spring, and that's why the inventory is so low. No.
I think I saw the same thing. So I saw a lot of sellers who were like, hey, can't wait to get the house on the market. COVID hit, changed their mind. Then they don't want people in their house. I had a bunch of other deals that were ready to go. We had it on the market. We pulled it off the market because they didn't know what COVID was. Nobody really understood what it meant. And now we've got kind of like the second round. Now we're in November. We're hitting that second round of COVID, which in my opinion really puts a halt to everything.
I know killing things. Yeah.
I know on my end, I've been the slowest in the last 2 weeks that I've ever been in 9 years. Because I think it's COVID related. I think you had,
absolutely.
You've got COVID, you had the election, and then you have Thanksgiving. So you're gonna have 3 big factors in like a 2-week period. And here in Rhode Island, she's talking about shutting down again.
Yeah.
So I mean that can be, that frustration I think is out there. Right? I think we need to try to battle through that. Right. So we need to try to figure out how we can battle through this thing and how we can get out there and really get in front of as many people as we can and try to get buyers' houses, even if there, aren't many out there. Like buyers, for example, what I'm doing with buyers is saying, okay, if your range is 250, let's start looking at stuff at 270, right? And we'll try to push your pre-approval number higher, right? Because at the end of the day, at least we got to try to go above that range and get creative, because otherwise that 250 buyer is almost impossible.
I have one at 230 right now that I showed a couple houses to this weekend, and it was like, these are too small. I don't like this. I said, this is what you get for
I
230 in
know.
today's market.
I know.
I says, and I said exactly that to them. I said, do you have like parents that can give you, a gift loan and get your price up to like 250?
Yeah.
I says, and even just that little bit can make a big difference in trying to find a house in this market today. And they were, looking in Smithfield, Lincoln. 300 is a low number in those towns. So we started looking like in Warwick and that surrounding area, Cranston, Johnston, and now all of a sudden there's a number. I popped up 30 houses that were in that price range, but they're rough. They're rough in that price range. So I mean, they're looking. They're the buyer, we call them. They have champagne taste on a beer budget. I said you're not. And I said this is why I got you out here today, is to show you this is what you get for that money.
Right.
Because they were turning me down and saying, I don't want to see that house. It's too small. This and that. I'm saying this is
the market
price range. This is the market. This is what you get.
So one thing I looked this morning, and I'm going to ask you this question: in Barrington, Warren, and Bristol, how many houses are 400 and below? Barrington, Warren, and Bristol.
5.
How'd you guess that? 5.
5.
5. Let's stop from there.
Oh.
5.
Yeah, that's crazy.
3 towns, 5 houses.
Yep.
3 towns, 5 houses. That is 400 and below. I'm not saying 200 and below. I'm not saying 300. 400 and below.
Right.
5 houses.
Right.
John, that's craziness.
That's why I had to move this client into a different communities, because
in Woonsocket, I had to look at this too. In Woonsocket, how many properties are for sale right now? Now, Woonsocket usually has a ton of stuff for sale. How many properties in Woonsocket?
The
entire city.
30.
25.
Close again.
I know. 25.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like this, man.
Yeah, it's
25.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
25 houses? How's that? How do you navigate through that?
Yeah.
25 houses. Pawtucket, there's like nothing. Woonsocket, there's like nothing. I remember the days in Pawtucket, 200 and below, you would have 90 houses to choose from, 100 houses to choose from.
Absolutely.
15.
But
7.
That's the golden opportunity for sellers today.
I know.
They just don't understand that.
They don't.
They're afraid of this COVID stuff, but there's ways to get around that. We have virtual tours. We have all kind of tools. And when we have open houses, we're strict about letting one party in at a time, so that all right, I understand you're worried about this, COVID, but the world can't come to an end on this. And if again, you could sell your house today without ever showing it.
Yeah.
You could just do it virtual, whatever, and so the opportunity for sellers is ridiculous right now.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And if you're not, and here's the reality, and you can answer this for me too. If your house doesn't sell in the market, what's the problem?
Price.
That's it. That's it. End of story. There's nothing else. There's no other factor. There's no secret hidden jewel. There's no secret reason. If your house is not selling in this market, it's price. And if your price is wrong, you get no one to look at it. And if no one looks at it, no one's going to buy it. And I get a ton of sellers who say this, and I think this is helpful for sellers out there. Hey, why is no one offering on my house? Well, because your price is too high. But why wouldn't they just throw an offer in? Because people don't do that, right? Do you agree? Like, if people don't like the house for the price, they're not going to offer on it.
Yeah, I mean, the average person does not like throwing out low ball offers.
Correct.
So if they're looking at a $400,000 house and they think it's only worth $350, yeah, they're not going to look at it.
Right, and that's what I think people don't understand is like the sellers like, well, why won't they? You stink. They're not offering $300. I'm like, well, I'll offer $300. How about that? I'll buy it for $300 today. Right. But they don't understand that buyers don't do that. Buyers go into the house and say, this house is worth $400. Is this worth $400 to me? And they say no, and they move on. And that's something that is really hard for sellers to understand because sellers can't really comprehend that.
Yeah, especially in this market.
No. Yeah. They're like, well, there's got to be an offer. My aunt sold her house $50,000 over ask. Well, your aunt didn't price it $100,000 over ask, over where it should be. You know what I mean? That's right. The reality of it. And at some point, I tell people this all the time. At some point, at some price, your house will sell. right? There's always a buyer for it in this sort of market.
Yeah,
There's plenty.
You're better off to err on the low side of the market price.
Right.
Because if you do, you're going to get so much traffic, and it's going to get bid up.
You'll get a bidding war.
All the good houses go. The last time I looked, when I was looking for the properties for these people, and I went to Warwick and stuff, I said, every house that sold in the last couple months sold over asking price. Every single one.
Yep.
I said, so you got to be prepared to make a strong offer when it comes time.
You have to, and I think the frustrating part is with such low inventory, like it's really hard. It becomes, out of those 5 houses, there are probably 5 dogs that are priced way over. You know what I mean? Like the 5 houses in Barrington, Bristol, and Warren, they're probably dog. You know what?
Yeah.
So they're not even they're not even worthwhile. But I can't remember a time ever where a city like Woonsocket, from 0 to $1 million, had 25 houses.
Yeah, and again, in 10 years, I've never seen a market like this. Never. It's almost like I don't know what to do.
I think
it's like, because I haven't been in this zone before to say, what's the strategy? And we're making offers, everyone over asking price, and it's not enough. I had one $30,000 over asking price, and I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I think it's a crazy market, and it's a frustrating market for buyers, and I think we can all relate to that. On the buy side, you need to stay patient. What I'm starting to see is some buyers giving up. They've got fatigue. They're like, I don't know.
I'm seeing that a lot
right?
now. Yeah.
Buyers just like, screw this. This doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to do it.
I'll wait till next year.
Correct.
Or whatever. Wait to let things calm down, or yeah. So that's a very good point, because I'm losing buyers right now.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
Left and right.
They just stop looking.
They stop looking, and then you can't really be that annoyance who's like, hey, let's get out there and look, and there's nothing to show them. Like, they're like, I've seen everything on MLS.
Or we've already made 6 offers, and everyone got turned down. So it's very frustrating.
Right, and I think we're all in the same boat. We're all seeing it. It's just a function of how can we navigate through it. And I'm hoping that a vaccine changes the game. And next year, I'm thinking you'll see all the people that were supposed to sell in 20 will sell in 21, and that should bring for a better market. And then there should be a ton more inventory and a ton more buyers.
Yeah, I think it's sad, but that I think the vaccine is going to be so instrumental, and if and they're talking in very soon it's coming out. I mean, they've had some good success and this and that, and if that happens, I think things are going to blow up in the spring.
Me too. Me too. I think you just have to get through this winter.
Yeah.
You just have to get through until I think the spring could come even earlier. I think you could see a really early spring. If the weather's favorable, I think you start seeing, February, January. I think you'll see a huge pickup in the market overall. Yeah. This vaccine's got to come out. It's got to come out.
March for sure.
Yeah, March for sure. And then I think the good news is there's so much pent-up supply and demand at that point, it should just carry through. Like the whole year should just be good.
Yeah, I agree. Sure.
There's no reason the whole year can't be a gangbuster.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we're hoping for, and I hope that's what actually happens. But with that, as we come to the end, anything you want to add, anything for sellers or buyers, anything that you think, any piece of advice?
You just got to be patient, and because the market is the way it is, it's, again, it's a different world that I don't even know, because it's, it's like I'm learning things every day that how things are reacting in the market, and so you've got to be very patient, and I mean, I haven't been to an open house in the last couple of months where there's not
a line,
30, 40 people there. And there's going to be, again, it's going to be at least, 5 to 10 offers on that property that day.
Yeah, I think that's a function of where we're at, and we just want to kind of bring this back so we can help educate people, buyers and sellers, where the market is. So if you are looking to sell or you are looking to buy, you can at least have an understanding of what you're up against. Whether it's positive or negative, you do have some sort of hurdles and challenges that you're going to be up against.
Yeah.
So guys, with that, we are coming to the conclusion of another great episode of All Things Real Estate, and we thank you guys so much for watching. We look forward to next week. Everyone have a great week.